Welcome to the Curiosity Podcast, a show about everything e-commerce and digital business. The aim is simple, to help you thrive online. And now, your host, Matt Edmondson.
Hello and welcome, my fellow e-commerce entrepreneurs. My name is Matt Edmondson, and this show is for those of us curious about e-commerce and want to know how to get better at doing digital business. Coming up in today's show, I am going to run through my proven framework, the framework that I use to grow successful e-commerce businesses. Now, I do want to say right here at the start, I'm not making this claim lightly. It is not clickbait. It's not designed for that. But it is a framework that I use in my own e-commerce business. And it's also the exact framework I use when doing coaching and consulting with clients all over the world. And I've seen some great results with this framework. Okay. So if you are a fellow e-commercer, then you're really going to enjoy today's show as I run through my secret sauce. I will, of course, put any links that I mention and along with the show notes on my website at mattedmondson.com. You can just check that out, hit the podcast link, and you'll be able to find the episode. Also on my website is information about the collab project. If you are new to the show and haven't heard about it, then this is a challenge I've set for myself for some reason, one day I said it, the desire to set up 100 new e-commerce websites. And to do that many, I definitely need to partner with some entrepreneurs who have got some great products to sell online, some great ideas, some great things to bring. I don't know, maybe you're great at the social media side and creating the content, but not so hot on the e-commerce side, and you want to partner with somebody that can help you. Well, go check out what we do on the collab project on my site, mattedmondson.com. We've got a whole bunch of information on there, and if that's you, check it out. Now, let me take a moment to shout out to the show's sponsor, the amazing Kurious Digital. It's an experience-based platform, and in fact, this platform has been developed around the framework that we're going to go through today, right? So this is the platform that I use to grow my own e-commerce businesses. And if you are looking for a new e-commerce platform, be sure to check it out at kurious.digital. That's Kurious with a K, not with a C. Okay, Kurious. A bit like this podcast, the Curiosity Podcast, is with a K, not with a C, for obvious branding reasons. Now, I hope you're having a good day wherever you are. At the time of recording, I'm in the recording studio here at the office, which I actually quite enjoy being in. It's peaceful. No one bothers me when you put the red light on. It's great. Do not enter, and you can just go in here and have a little chat, and it's brilliant. But at the time you hear this, I will actually be on holiday because there's a time between recording and actually going live. So as you hear this, do think of me just taking a bit of time out, a bit of R&R. Because you know what, it's good to do that. I don't know if you're like me. I've had one of those weeks, right, where you're going on holiday the next week, and but you've got so much you want to get done before you go away. So you work crazy the week leading up to your vacation. It just goes absolutely nuts, and so you get to the end of the week feeling actually quite tired and ready for some time off. That's the point I'm at right now. Give me an amen if you can empathize, right? Okay, enough talk about a holiday. Let's get into the framework. Now, I see a lot of people starting, their e-commerce business with a lot of hope and optimism, right? The main thing we've got is hope and optimism when we start our business. And I was exactly the same way when I started my own company. But I don't really see a lot of guys come into e-commerce having a clear plan or framework or guidebook, for want of a better expression, for building that business, right? Or growing that business. Now, it may be that business is a brand new business. It may be it's a bolt-on to an existing business. Or it may be that your e-commerce website is actually, just not doing great. And you're trying to understand why. Well, I reckon this framework is a good way to understand e-commerce and a good way to understand business, okay? Like I said, I use it on my own e-commerce businesses. I go around the houses all the time on this, and I use it with consulting clients. It's the framework I use when I do the e-commerce consulting, which I do all over the world, and it's worked everywhere I've gone, right? So I want to run through it because I think it will really, really help you as an e-commerce entrepreneur to get your head around how to grow the business. Now, before we get into it, I just want to give you one word of warning. You might think that some of what I'm saying sounds remarkably simple, and it is. So don't let the simplicity of this fool you. Sometimes we like to have things super complicated unnecessarily. I actually work very hard to try and keep things simple. It's what works for me, right? It's what I need in reality is the simple. So we're going to try and keep this straightforward and simple, but don't let the simplicity of this fool you. A lot of this, you'll go, well, that makes a lot of sense. Of course, that's right. That makes a lot of sense. And that's a good thing. That's where we want you to be, because this is how it's going to help you and how you'll remember it. Now, if you know me, and if you've been following along, you will know that I have a website called Jersey Beauty Company, right? It's one of my key e-commerce sites, Jersey. We just call it Jersey. We have a range of things called the Jersey Group, where we have e-commerce sites, we have fulfillment services and e-commerce services, all through the Jersey Group, right? We're kind of like an e-commerce behind-the-scenes business doing all kinds of cool stuff. Anyway, the reason I'm mentioning this is the word Jersey. Jersey is just very synonymous with me and what we do. And it's the word Jersey that I use to remember this framework, okay? So the letter J stands for jam jar, E is engineer, R resonate, S send, E experience, and Y yo-yo. Now I'm going to go through all of those again so you will remember them, but that's how I remember it. So we call this the Jersey framework, okay, because each letter is a really key component in this framework. And of course, as I said earlier, if you're driving along, don't take notes because, that would be nuts. Definitely head on over to the site and just download the show notes. Why would you not do that, right? Because it just makes a lot of sense. But if you are sat there, write this down in your notebook and work through this. So let's get into the first one, jam jar. Now, jam jar for me is all about products. Okay, it's all about starting with the right products. And the reason we went with this phrase jam jar is I came across a experiment that they did a number of years ago using jam. Okay, and in the supermarket they put a table out with a series of jams on the table, and they wanted to see if people could test and taste the jam. Would that correspond to a bigger amount of sales at the till, right, at the register? Would you have more sales, yes or no? So on the first table, they put, I think it was like 6 or 8 different flavors of jam, quite well-known flavors of jam. And they put them out there and they monitored the sales. The next week, they put the same table out, but instead of putting like 6 or 8 jars of jam on there, they had like 32. And they had some crazy flavors as well, some exotic flavors, stuff you would never have thought to try. But here it was on the table. You could try it without any problem, right? And so people would go along and they would try this jam. The thinking being, obviously, the more choice you had and the more flavors you had, that would mean more sales at the register. It would mean more sales at the checkout, right? The reality was it didn't. The less choice you gave customers resulted in more sales. How does this work to e-commerce? Because actually the normal rules of products, they apply to e-commerce, and we have to think about the products that we're selling. Okay, we can't just assume that we know. We can't just assume that actually any old product is going to be fine. We've got to think about it. So the aim of Jam Jar is very simple, right? You want to curate high demand products that create profit through knowable sales patterns. So you want to curate. Think about your niche. We talked about niche in episode 5, right? What is your niche? Think about the jams, right? The more widespread, the less niche it is. So think about your niche. What is your niche? How can you go and curate and get that best high demand products for that niche, right? And this is critical. The products have to be in high demand, okay? And you've got to be able to create profit with those products. You know, there are so many products out there at the moment where it is just literally a race to the bottom. If you sell them, you're competing with loads of other people, and the only way really to beat them is to lower the price. So you lower your price, somebody else lowers their price, and you have to lower your price, and it becomes a race to the bottom, so you're not really creating profit, okay? And the final part to this is you want to curate high-demand products that create profit through knowable sales patterns. You want to be able to understand how customers are going to buy them. You want to understand that whole customer journey. You really need to know that and be able to figure that out, okay? And that's the very first part of e-commerce. It's getting the products right. You've got to start with the products. And if you're a regular listener to the show, you will know that in September, we hope to be launching a new course called the Jam Jar Funnel, and all about how to find these high demand products that create profit with knowable sales patterns. That's the aim of that course, okay? And that's coming out. But irrespective of whether you take that course or not, it's not a sales pitch. What I want you to understand is e-commerce fundamentally starts with knowing about your products and knowing those sales patterns and having that great product, those high demand products at the start, okay? So that's J for Jam Jar. We're going to move on to the first E, which is engineer. Now, this is all about building an adaptable platform that provides the best buying experience and integrates with your business systems, okay? So if you are just starting out, you obviously have to balance that with budget. And so you have to think about how much money do I have to spend, which is why I think if you're just starting out, actually Shopify is a pretty great platform because it's relatively cost effective. It's like whatever it is, $30-40 a month for the basic setup, I think these days. You can get an all right template design for a couple of $100 and away you go, okay? But it's a great starter platform. I don't know if I'd say it's a particularly great platform to be on long term. I always find it's a great way to test a business and to test an idea. And if it starts to take off a little bit, then I could move it onto a different platform. And I see that happening a lot in e-commerce. Because you want the platform to be adaptable, right? It's got, what I mean by adaptable is it's got to change and develop as your business grows and scales, as your customer needs change, and also as technology changes, right? So you want to build an adaptable system, one that can sort of iterate with you as you change, as your business grows. And the key is your website, take all the other stuff out of it. Your website has got to deliver. I was crossing two words, develop and deliver then. I don't know why. But it's got to deliver the best buying experience for your customers, right? You've got to focus on your customers, but it also has to integrate with your business system. So if you're an established business already, or you already have an e-commerce business, it's got to integrate with your warehouse management systems and all that sort of stuff. Otherwise, you're going to run into massive problems, okay? So at first we start with the product, then we look at the website. What's the best website we can build with the budget that we have, with the idea of it being adaptable, giving great experience for the customer, and does it need to integrate with any systems that I have, okay? Then we move into the R, which is resonate, okay? Now, this is all about actually creating that best buying experience for your customer. And this is where I think a lot of websites certainly when you're starting out with Shopify, you'll throw the website up, you'll put the template on, but you've not really focused on creating that best buying experience for your customer. Now, how do you do that? Well, we talked about in the Jam Jar stage, you want these products that are sold through knowable sales patterns. So when you know the sales patterns, you can create the best buying experience for your customer on your website, and you design around that. You don't ever try and force a customer to buy your way. You want to make it easy for the customers to understand what it is that's going on the website, and it follows a logical pattern. The navigation works for them. It feels familiar. They don't have to think about it. They don't have to guess about it. Your site resonates, right? And if your site resonates, then people will start to buy from you, okay? We are now going to take a few minutes to stop, pause, and review this week's e-commerce news. Welcome to the weekly news roundup with my fabulous, talented host, Sadaf. Sadaf, hey.
Hey, Matt.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. So what have we got this week?
All right. So true or false, Matt? Over half the people over 65 shop online.
Well, okay. This is actually a good one for me. If this was a pub quiz, I'd be doing well because I've actually read this online. I actually read this blog post. Now, it's true and false. Okay. It is true if you live in the UK because I read that, was it the Office for National Stats said that now 54% of people aged 65 and over are buying online. Was that right?
Mm-hmm. That is.
Yeah, well done, me. Pat on the back. But I don't think it'll be true for every country. But for the UK, as things currently stand, I would say that's true.
Yeah, this is a growing segment for the UK and gives great opportunity for the savvy e-com guy. And do you want me to tell you where else there's a great e-commerce opportunity?
Sure, I'm always on the lookout for new opportunities, that's for sure. Where else?
Sweden.
Okay, Sweden.
Yeah.
You're going to have to explain what. Why?
Okay,
Why
so according to a blog post on eCommerce News Europe, it takes an average of 5.6 days to get a parcel from Sweden to Finland.
5.6 days.
5.6 days.
And these guys are neighbors, right?
Yep.
So that's like me sending a parcel to Wales or Scotland, and it taking 5.6 days to get there.
Yeah.
Goodness me, I have no idea what they're doing at the border. I mean, that's just nuts, right?
Yeah. Do you know how long it might take to send something from the UK to Australia or New Zealand?
I guarantee it would be a lot less than 5.6 days. I mean, we ship stuff from here to Australia and New Zealand, and there's no way it takes 5.6 days. Yet to get it from Sweden to Finland, it does.
So is this kudos to Royal Mail?
No. I wouldn't go that far. But, wow, I'm just stunned at that. Okay, so speaking of opportunities online, I have a question for you, right?
Okay.
Do you have, and I appreciate this might sound really sexist when I say, but it isn't, it's not intended to be. Do you have a foldable travel iron?
No, I do not have a foldable travel iron. I don't even have a travel iron.
So no travel iron at all?
Nope.
Okay. Now, the reason I asked this is because I read a blog post by Oberlo, which they posted last week, saying that they did this post, the top 10 products to sell online in 2019, which is a good time to post it halfway through the year, I feel. But anyway, they posted this blog post. And did you know that the foldable travel iron was their top recommended product to sell online in 2019?
No way.
Yeah, a foldable travel iron. So I'm a little bit shocked by that. Would you actually want one, though?
No.
You see, I have
wouldn't.
one. I have a foldable travel iron, which I got, I think, about 20 years ago, when I used to care about having ironed and pressed shirts when I traveled, which I don't now. I'm way past caring. And it's in my attic somewhere. So I feel like I need to get it down. Maybe put it on eBay, because obviously the demand's there.
I think you should.
If it's like the number one best-selling product, right? So anyway, there you go. If you want a top tip, if you're hunting e-commerce products, if you're looking for that opportunity, go and buy foldable travel irons, figure out how to ship them from Sweden to Finland really, really quick, and make sure you sell them to people over 65, and we've got it all covered.
Yeah.
Right? Awesome. So that's this week's News Roundup. Thanks, Sedef.
You're welcome.
I'll see you next week.
And you too.
That's the news. So now let's get back to it. The first S, well, the only S in Jersey is send, right? So we've started off with the product. We've built the website. And the third thing we've done is we've made that website really, really resonate with the customers that are going to be using it, okay? Now we're ready. We're good to go. So we want to send. Now, this is all about finding your customers and directing them to your website in order that they buy from you, okay? And this is critical because I think we've missed this a lot. With a lot of talk around social media, and don't get me wrong, social media is great and it is awesome, and I get the power of it for your e-commerce business, but you're aiming your marketing, which is what Send is all about. It's about going and finding people, converting them to customers, okay, so that they buy from your website. It's all about going out there and getting them. And sometimes I feel like with marketing, we've lost that thinking. that actually ultimately these people have to buy from you. Yes, likes are good. Yes, views are good. Yes, subscriber numbers on your YouTube channel are important. Yes, the number of followers you've got on Twitter is critical, right? And these are all important metrics. But fundamentally, you can have 1 million people following you on Twitter, but if none of them are buying you from your website, you're not going to have a business, right? So don't lose that thinking in your marketing, right? You have got to go find people who are your customers. And if they're not yet your customers, these are people that you can easily convert to becoming your customer. You're going to direct them ultimately to your website. Yes, you want them to go to your Facebook page. Yes, you want them to go to your Instagram feed. But ultimately, they've got to get on your website so that they buy from you, okay? Don't forget that. That is critical and that is important. And that's what your marketing strategy should be around, okay? We're going to move on to the second E now in this framework, experience. Now, this is all about the customer's buying experience from you. You want to do two things, okay? You want to create the best digital experience for your customers, okay? So when they're on your website, because you know the sales patterns, you understand them as a customer, you're looking out for them, you've got high demand products, everything about your website's cool and awesome and they feel great with it. So you're creating this digital experience for them that really resonates with them, okay? But you've got to remember there are two sides to e-commerce. And again, a lot of people miss this, okay? And this is where I think if you start off with a drop shipping model, you have to pay attention because this is going to be one of the key weaknesses of the drop ship model that you have to think about and work through, okay? And that is not only do you want to create a great digital experience, you have got to create a really good real experience too. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, think of it this way, right? When a customer comes along to your website and they buy something from your site, right? And it's all beautiful and slick and it works and they go through and it's been a great experience. They've given you their credit card number. They've purchased the product. You've got this beautiful page which says, hey, thanks for shopping. And we're going to send out your product, right? And you send out the product to them and it's 5 days late and the package is broken, but the packaging on the outside is awful compared to what's on the inside, right? And so as soon as the customer touches that box as it comes through the door, the package through the letterbox, it has now become a real experience. It has moved from the pixels on the page to something they can touch and feel with their own hands, right? So you want to make sure that that whole experience is seamless, okay? And brilliant and beautiful and planned through and thought about, okay? Do not neglect that side of things. So much energy goes into actually getting the sale without actually thinking about what happens once we've got the sale, which gives this great experience for our customers, okay? So we've had Jam Jar, which is about products. We've had Engineer, which is about website. We've had Resonate, which is about conversion. We've had Send, which is about marketing and getting the right people to our website. And we've had E for Experience, which is all about creating both a great digital experience, but also a real experience as well, whether it's through packaging or customer service or whatever it is, okay? And we finally find ourselves on the Y, yo-yo. Now, what do I mean by yo-yo? Well, when I was a kid, I don't know if you've ever played with a yo-yo, but when I was a kid, I used to have a yo-yo. You'd walk around with it. And a yo-yo only makes sense if that thing goes up and down the string, right? If it just went down the string and stayed at the bottom, you would get super annoyed because you're like, oh, you then had to spend, time winding the string back on the yo-yo. So you're like, right, the whole purpose of the yo-yo is to throw the thing down, bring it back up, throw it. And so it's back and forth, back and forth. Well, this is true of your e-commerce business, right? It is super hard if you are going to put all this effort in just to get in a customer to buy from you once and once only, okay? Now, there is a statistic out there which says 80% of the people that come and buy products from your website will buy only once. Only 20% of people will come back and buy again. But, if you can work hard to make that 20% bigger, to maybe 40%, for example, you will find actually that portion of your turnover is significantly bigger. In other words, people coming back to your website will buy from you more often and they'll buy from you bigger amounts. Their average order value is higher. So you want to build a business that is both repeatable, i.e., it can go up and down the string like a yo-yo. Customers feel like they can come back and buy from you time and time again, but it's also referable. In other words, you want other people to tell everybody or tell all their friends about your business, right? So it's referable, it's repeatable, and it's referable. And if you can focus on those two things, you actually make your whole e-commerce life a whole lot easier, let me tell you. So when it comes to using this framework, if you're starting out in business, this is what you need to do, right? First and foremost, find a great product. That's what you've got to do. Before you do anything else, before you design websites, before you get domains, before you go and do logos, all that sort of stuff, go and find some great products. That is fundamentally what needs to happen. You are then going to be able to concentrate on your website because your website is now built around the products and these knowable sales patterns, which means your website is going to resonate and you're going to think about the customer being on the website. What do they need? What do they want? How will this help them? Okay. How can I help them with added value? That's always a great question, and so how does that work with my conversion? You're then going to look at your marketing and go, right, I've got this product, I've got this website that works super well. What is going to be a great marketing strategy for me to build this continual business? That's what I want to know, okay? You're going to then work hard on delivering both a good digital experience and a good real experience. And then you're going to work hard to keep this business repeatable and referable. Now, let me tell you, if you do those first 5 things, the website, the product, the conversion, the marketing, you will find it's actually an awful lot easier to build a repeatable business, okay? Because people love to shop with you. If they've had a great experience, guess what? They're going to come back. Guess what? They're going to tell their friends. So the final category becomes actually a whole lot easier if you do those first 5 super, super well, okay? So that's a framework. But what happens if you've already got an e-commerce business? How do I use this tool to diagnose, for example? So is your business working well? Well, I literally, whenever I sit down with a consultant client, we just sit down, we have a conversation about an awful lot of things, and we go into a lot of detail about their products. We do a lot of research around their products. We obviously spend an awful lot of time looking at their website, what's working, what's not working, what needs to change. And we look at this whole idea of resonate. So how are you dealing with customers on your website? Do they enjoy being on your website? What could you do there to improve that? Is your navigation working for them? I mean, a whole bunch of questions around that side of things. We obviously spend time looking at their marketing campaigns. We look at their email marketing. And just as an aside, I'm always surprised by how many companies I go in and consult with who do not have email marketing strategies. I don't know what that's all about, but you definitely need to build that in from day one. So what's the marketing strategy? What's the email marketing strategy? How are we doing that? How's that working? What kind of results are we getting from that? What are you doing on social media? How's that working? How are we getting them back to the website in order that they buy from you, right? We look at that whole side of things. If we're diagnosing issues, I definitely am going to get on the phone and call a whole bunch of your customers and talk to them. I want to know what their experience is like. What are they finding out? I'm going to go through all your customer service emails because I want to see what people are actually saying and understand that experience and how could you make it better for that customer, for that industry. And obviously we look at how many people are coming back to the site, how many people are buying more than once, what's that percentage, what strategies could we put into place to improve it. That's always a super big question. And we look at those and we look at metrics, maybe how we could measure that. So you could use this to diagnose your business really well. Maybe you've got fantastic products, right? We've been doing a consulting project with a company, great range of products. Their website actually, for me, was a fundamental problem. It wasn't working well for them at all. So we put a big question mark next to their website. It didn't really resonate with their customers that well. So they had 2 big question marks. Their marketing was pretty reasonable, but just needed to be adapted a little bit. The customer experience was pretty good. These guys were actually really good at customer experience. So we used this as a tool to sort of diagnose where the issues were, and it was all around their website and the customer experience once they were on their website. We've gone into other situations where we've looked at and gone, right, let's use this framework. Right, let's have a look at the products. And we've never moved away from it, because that for me was where the issue was. They didn't have high demand products and people didn't know about them. So it's like, okay. So use the tool, right? The 6 questions, the 6 things, the 6 items, the 6 points, whatever you want to call, all around e-commerce. I just call it the Jersey framework because I remember that, and it's super, super easy. And so when I look at my own e-commerce businesses, I'm like, how are my products doing? Let's go get some more products that are high demand. Let's lose the ones that we're not selling. What do we need to do on the website, on the engineer side of things? How does it what can I do to make it integrate better? Always, or every month, there are changes on our website where we're adapting. Resonate, we're always looking at conversion stats. How can we get people to convert better? How can we resonate better with our customers? What kind of content do I need to put on the website that will help them? And so on and so forth. Our marketing, that changes a lot because technology changes and customer buying patterns change. Social media is always changing. So we're constantly reviewing that. So I use this platform every month to go through my own e-commerce businesses with our teams and go, how can we make this better? How can we make it work? So that's my framework, okay, that I use. Hopefully that has been helpful to you. And like I say, you can use it on your own e-commerce business. One more time, it's the Jersey framework. J is for jam jar, E is for engineer, R is for resonate, S is for send, E is all about the experience, and Y is for yo-yo. Download that from the website, mattedmondson.com, and use that to diagnose your business, or if you're starting out, to plan your business. What are you going to do in those 6 areas, which is going to give you that much bigger chance of a home run at the start, okay? Now, make sure you subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. It is free, of course, and the show, well, it's full of good stuff. Even if I do say so myself, which of course I do, it's full of good stuff about how to set up, run, and grow your own e-commerce businesses. So you can make sure, you've got, like using the framework, for example, make sure you've got a much greater chance of success. We give all those practical tips, help, and advice. I think it's great. We have great guests, which we interview as well, and they share that advice. And we also do coaching calls. And if you would like to be featured on the podcast, like I think Dan was recently, we did a coaching call with him. Get in touch via the website. You can apply to be on the show, and we do coaching calls where I'll talk to you about e-commerce, and we'll have a little bit of a chinwag and hopefully get your website moving and get it better and deal with some of the problems that you are facing. Okay, so check all that out at mattedmondson.com. All the Instagram, Facebook, Twitter links and all that sort of stuff are on there as well. Or you can just go to those platforms. I'm on all the social media. Just search for Matt Edmondson and you will find me. So thanks for listening. Hope you've got a lot out of it. Thanks for subscribing. Do me a favor, hit the review link and just give us a review. That would be awesome, especially if you're on platforms like iTunes or Spotify or Stitcher or wherever you get your podcast. It just really helps us promote the show, and it does me a really big favor, as well as probably strokes my ego, which is helpful. But we just want to make sure we're hitting it right with the content. So if you are benefiting from it, or if you've got any questions, let us know. We'll be in touch. So thanks for listening. Have a great day. I'll be back soon with some more help and advice on e-commerce. So until next time.
You've been listening to the Curiosity Podcast with Matt Edmondson. Subscribe and join us next time as we carry on conversations about all things e-commerce and digital business.